Welcome back to my channel. The Earth is dying. Scientists look for a new Earth suitable to sustain mortal life and find it in the time 2063. The Earth is seen on screen, while a woman explains that it's a Earth humans can populate. She continues, saying that a giving charge to the Earth should be transferred. Since the passage there will take 86 times, the crew of the charge will reproduce on the boat, making the third generation on board the one to reach the Earth. The crew is genetically finagled on Earth by combining the genes of leading scientists. A man is seen talking about the logic behind this plan, justifying why the crew will be specifically finagled to man the charge, conforming of children raised and trained solely for its purpose. The coming step is assessing when they'll be ready to go. The younger the crew is, the longer the coffers can be saved. But the man Richard is bothered that they might not be completely equipped to deal with the complexity of space trip on their own. Latterly, Richard is seen entering an installation where the child crew is being raised and he gets into full defensive gear. He enters the apartments where they live and when they see him they all rejoice. Richard monitors where they are in their education, and also tucks Christopher, Sela and Zach into bed. Zach tells him that he is hysterical, but Richard comforts him by telling him that he is safe. The coming day, Richard is talking to a woman in charge of the charge. He tells her that he should go with the children, to raise and cover them. Richard's addition to the charge would also mean that it'll be suitable to launch in 4 times, rather of 7. Next, the charge launches with Richard on the helm. The shuttle docks with Humanitas, the boat for the charge. They all go outside and find their diggings. Richard takes one last look of Earth. 10 times latterly, the children are formerly grown-ups, as they can be seen waking and getting ready to start their days on the boat. The first assignment covers the fertilization for the alternate generation, which will begin in the 24th time of their lives. The crew goes about their day like robots. They are seen drinking a blue liquid. Christopher and Zach are hearkening to classical music. Sela walks through the boat and looks out at the space around them. Latterly, she talks to Richard, saying that the lies of the crew are insignificant. Trying to console her, he shows her filmland of his grandparents, telling her that furnishing for the future is veritably important. That night, Christopher cannot sleep. He listens to the sounds of the boat. The coming day, Richard and Christopher are in the hydroponics bay checking the state of the shops, when a communication about toxin in the water appears on Christopher's screen. He asks Richard about it, allowing it some kind of chemical that is not being reused from their urine, but Richard dismisses his enterprises. He is skeptical about it. So, latterly, he asks Zach about the component T56J. They wonder why the information is unapproachable. During the night, the two of them go back to figure out what it is. Christopher bypasses the firewall and is suitable to find the information. The chemical component is set up in the blue liquid they drink. Zach thinks it was a digestion aid, but they figure out that it is other goods on their personality. It makes them dull and amenable, dwindling their solicitations and pleasure responses. They are being cured and pacified, so they do not reproduce naturally and overpopulate the boat. The two of them stop drinking the blue liquid. Latterly, they partake the information with Kai and Julie, along with the information about a retired cube on the boat. Latterly, Christopher is in a session with Richard. He says he knows that he has been lying to them, but only mentions the unmarked cube, cover 23. Richard tells him that the charge must have prevaricated to them for a reason, that the cover might be for the 3rd generation. After the session, Richard sends a communication back to Earth asking if he could partake everything with the crew and be honest with them, so they do not lose faith in him. The communication will take time to get there. The coming day, while standing in line coming to Sela, Christopher has a fantasy about her. They eat lunch and he keeps looking at her, but Zach approaches her telling her that she's changed. Richard comes by and tells him not to snare her, as per the rules. In the spa, Christopher and Zach are seen fighting and taking it a bit too far. The others do not understand what is passing. The two of them start feeling the goods of not taking the medicine. They hear the boat noises and go to an observation room where they see one of their fellow crew members. The 3 of them talk about what it might be, so he tells them that he thinks it might be some kind of alien life form. Sela and Richard are in his office and he shows her dried chops from Earth. Zach and Christopher hear them talking and approach the room. Zach sees Richard touching Sela's shoulder and gets jealous. They lose contact with Earth and Richard informs them that their transmitter needs to be fixed. Zach will come with him, while the others continue with their places. The medications are underway, As Zack sees Sela and approaches her again, she tells him about the suit he will be wearing and he starts touching her erroneously. Richard runs in and gets him off of her. He asks Zack what is passing, but he runs down looking for him. Richard sees Phoebe on the way and she tells him that he stopped taking the blue. Next, he runs into Christopher and finds out that he stopped taking the medicine as well. But Richard tells him that the medicine was enforced to stop precisely the type of jest witnessed in Zack. He asks Christopher to help him fix the transmitter, so that when it's online he will back him up when he voices his expostulations to charge control. All of the other crew members are on their positions in the boat, while fix for the spacewalk is underway. Zack enters the systems room. Richard and Christopher go outside the boat. Christopher is passing sensations he hasn't felt before, so Richard keeps an eye on him. Richard repairs one of the transmitter corridor, also goes over the alternate bone. Inside the boat, the noises from the boat can be heard again and the crew is getting restless. They check to see if anything differently is outside and suddenly Commodity appears on the screen next to Richard and Christopher. It hurts Richard, hurling him down from the boat. The boat has some kind of malfunction as well. No one knows what has happened. There's a fire in the systems room. Christopher brings Richard outside and they take him to medical. All kinds of crimes appear on the boat, from navigation to communication. The medical platoon and Sela are trying to resuscitate Richard, but it does not work. Sela is the principal medical officer and pronounces him dead latterly. The crew has a meeting, where they speak about what has happened. They mention the creaking sound. One of the crew members says he saw Commodity on the examiner when it happened, that looked like a force jumping into Richard, like it was Commodity alien. Phoebe starts crying. Christopher comforts them, saying that if they keep it together they'll be alright. The systems reboot and the crew is checking the surveillance library, but all of the footage has been deleted by the fire in the systems room. They need to choose a new principal officer. Zack says that he should be principal, but the others say that they need an election. All of them bounce and place Christopher as principal officer. Zack is jealous, but congratulates him anyhow. First order of business is repairing the damage in the transmitter. He gets the entire crew working on the other repairs on the boat caused by the fire. The surveillance system is the last thing on the form list, so they can see what happened to Richard. They hope the drives are complete. Sela goes to his office and looks through his film and vids. When Christopher arrives at the door, she tells him that she's supposed to destroy his particular library. Indeed, though she does not want to do it, she shows him Richard's photos and they talk about the significance of parents. He asks why Richard told her about his life, allowing that they might have been further than musketeers, but she explains that he was just feeling alone. They look through his videotape journal, where he explains how important he believes in the charge and addresses about how much he cares for them. Christopher is looking for the crew and finds them in the barroom, angry that they are not at their posts. Zack tells him that they are repairing the refrigerators, so they do not lose any food. But there's a bunch of food that might go bad, so he asks him if they can have a feast to celebrate their new principal officer. After they eat, Kai tells the others not to drink the blue and they all leave it. Sela and Christopher are looking through Richard's vids, laughing and enjoying themselves. Christopher feels decreasingly more attracted to her. Zack feels attracted to Julie. He touches her and she touches him back. The others are looking at them. Latterly, the crew can be seen fighting and running around the boat, having fun. They all look through Richard's particular library. Sela finds them in his diggings and tells them to leave, but they do not want to. Zack is the last to leave, telling Sela that Richard is not there presently to cover her. She goes back to the med bay and grabs a scalpel. Christopher is following Zack, bothered he might do Commodity to Sela, when he finds out that she's in the med bay and goes there before Zack can. Zack arrives and Christopher pretends that the two of them are making love, so he leaves. Sela threatens him with a scalpel, not understanding his intentions. But when he says he is there to help her, she says he should help the rest of the crew, because they are getting out of control. Christopher leaves and finds Zack along the way, telling him to stay down from Sela. When they hear the strange crackling noise again, he follows it around the boat, as others can hear it too. Kai sees Julie getting close to another crewman, so he flies into a rage and punches him off her. They fight. Latterly in the barroom, Christopher tries to get the crew to bear, but they do not like it. Suddenly, The crewman that Kai beat up thresholds hitting him with a tool. Christopher stops him by hitting him too. He tells everyone to get Kai and the other one treated and also to meet at the common room. In the meeting he tells everyone that the fighting has to stop and the restitutions have to continue. Zack challenges him and the others suppose that they should not be doing the work because they will not get to the end of the charge. Christopher says that their grandchildren will and that they need to support them. One of the crew members says he does not want to work in the systems room because the alien lives there. He thinks Christopher brought it in when Richard failed. Phoebe suggests they repair the surveillance system and see what happened. But Zack belittles her and tells Christopher to shut up too. He does not watch about the rules presently and tries to get the others on his side, saying Christopher is not the right leader. Zack thinks he should be the leader and tries to move the rest of them to come a part of his group, which will be strong enough to fight the alien if it's there. Numerous of the crew follow him, but some of them stay on Christopher's side. That group goes to the surveillance room to fix the system. Hysterical, the alien might be there. Christopher goes in first to check. Zack and the others bat the hallways and reach the systems room. Him and Kai go inside the room, not knowing Christopher has been in there too. They go deeper inside the room to look for the alien. The bones on the outside see commodity passing outside, and Zack and Kai run out alarmed, sealing the room as they leave. Laterally, they tell the others from the group that the alien attacked them. Meanwhile, Christopher brings the surveillance drive to Sela in the medbay. Him, her and many others check the footage. They find the footage from the systems room and realize that it was Zack and Kai that killed Richard by electrocuting him, also prevaricated about the alien. The group decides to keep quiet for the moment, until they figure out what to do. Christopher and Sela hide the drive in her room and talk about Zack. He thinks that this is what they are really like without the medicine, but she disagrees, saying that the two of them are different. He says that he is upset that the others will not watch about the Verity and that perhaps he does not watch either. Sela tells him to stay with her. They kiss and they sleep together. In the morning, there is a knock on Sela's door. It's Zack saying that he will come outside, one way or another. When she and Christopher open the door, Zack and Kai invite them to another festivity in the barroom. Christopher's group arrives, while the others are formerly eating. Zack invites them to get some food. When they sit down, he stands up and proclaims himself the new principal officer. Suddenly, Christopher stands up too, goes to an examiner and plays the footage from the incident. He tells the others that Zack killed Richard and that there's no alien, that he has been lying to them. He suggests Zack confines himself in his room, while they consult the program and they decide what to do. Everyone gets worried and Zack confesses, saying he did it to cover them, because the alien was in Richard and Christopher brought it outside. He convinces the others that the alien is inside the boat, hiding in one of them. Zack says that they need to find it and kill it, to which they all agree. He pits them against each other and they start fighting. They suppose it's the crewman that works in the medbay and they start shadowing after him. Christopher follows suit. Kai hits him first, also the others join, as they protest the crewman to death. Christopher takes his group to a secure place in the boat, while Zack's group goes into the medbay and they arm themselves. Christopher's group tries to figure out what to do and some of them want to give up, saying they cannot do anything in the moment. They suppose they should join Zack's group and try to detain him laterally, because his group has munitions and they don't. Sela realizes that Christopher knows about the munitions hidden on the boat in the secret cube. Christopher goes to find it by himself. He opens the cube and crawls outside, searching for it. When he eventually finds it, he cannot open it and an alarm starts publicizing, which Julie and another crewman hear. They hear him inside the chambers too and tell Zack about it. Christopher gets out to get some tools to open the cube, but when he comes back, the other group is formerly taking the chambers piecemeal. They open the secret cube and find the munitions. Kai thinks they are meant for the third generation, but Zack says they're for them. Two people from Christopher's group want to join Zack and the others. Zack asks where the rest are hiding. Sela, Phoebe and Christopher concoct a plan how to get close to Zack. He suggests that he should kill him, but Phoebe does not like it. Sela watches them on the examiner and sees that they are moving, coming after them. They cut their power and arrive at the room. Sela tells her group not to repel, as the others storm the room and snare them. Sela stops them, as they are dragging Christopher down, and asks to talk intimately to Zack. She says she wants to be with him and join his group, as she walks up to him, but he rejects her, laughing at her. When Phoebe appears asking if they have all gone crazy, she says they can decide not to act the way they have, but they all tell her to shut up. Suddenly Kai kills her to the shock of everyone, including Zack. But he turns it around and goes after Christopher. He and Sela escape, but the others quest for them throughout the boat. They hide in articulation, but the others snappily find which one it is. Zack shoots outside, as Julie tells him to be careful, because he is destroying their food force. He sends one of his men after them to see if he got them, but they escape again. Suddenly, someone shoots at them, so they start looking for munitions. Christopher finds a fire extinguisher, and as Kai comes inside the med bay, they incapacitate him and accidentally kill him. Zack finds them fast and shoots after them as they run down. They get into an airlock and Christopher tells Sela to get into a spacesuit. He covers the window of the air cinch. When Zack reaches it, he shoots without vacillation. Suddenly he is smelled outside, because the door to the outside has been opened. He grabs Sela and goes to close the door, fighting with her and ultimately pecking her with a cutter. Christopher pushes him outside the door, but as they fight, ends up smelled out in space himself. Before Zack can close the door, Sela kicks him out of it. She searches for Christopher, staying for him to come back, and suddenly sees him grabbing onto the boat. The two of them come back outside and tell the others that Zack is gone. They put down their munitions. Sometime latterly, all of the crew is having lunch in the barroom. Sela asks Christopher how they can make sure commodity like that does not be again. They hear to some of Richard's recordings again, in which he says that no matter what bad happens on the charge, the bones that prevail are proof that humans are worth saving. The crew votes for a new chief again and they choose Sela. She records a journal in which she says that they will bounce for everything from that moment on and that they will still not go back to the blue. The crew continues repairing the boat and work together in peace as time goes by. Sela can be seen pregnant and the baby is Christopher's. The baby is born. Many times latterly, it can be seen running on the boat and joining other children. Those children grow up on the boat, as the first generation grows old. 86 times since the launch of the charge, the Humanitas can be seen floating in space and engaging its drive to land on the Earth. The aged generations and the youngish bones look toward their new home on the alien Earth. If you like this video, then please don't forget to press the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching.